family to One-Footed Phoenix. So as you probably know if you've been following me, I haven't had a long form video out for a couple weeks, and I just wanted to take a quick second to explain why that is. So over the past couple of weeks, or months anyway, I've been doing a different medication than I was doing before in the bisphosphonate infusions. And unfortunately, this different medication hasn't been as effective, so I've been in a lot more pain than like I normally am. And yeah, that's basically the reason I've been like AWOL for a little while. So yeah, please forgive me for that, but I'm back and ready to make a video for you guys. As an amputee, there are many different types of prosthetic systems and prosthetic parts that you can choose from. And typically new amputees will start off with whatever their prosthetic maker decides is like gonna be kind of best for them. But I wanted to make you aware of the different kinds of prosthetic systems and different prosthetic parts that could potentially improve your lifestyle. And let's be honest, even if you're not an amputee, you're probably curious about what kinds of prosthetics are out there and the kind of technology that goes into making a prosthetic limb for an amputee. The first type, and maybe the most common type of prosthetic system, is called the Pinlock System. The Pinlock System works by putting a pin right at the bottom of the liner that the amputee wears. So the Pinlock System, it has a pin at the bottom, and then that pin locks into the bottom of the prosthetic socket. So there's a hole at the bottom, and then there's like this little like attachment at the bottom. So basically, like when you go to put it on, you put on the liner first, and then once you get the liner on, you kind of like step into the prosthetic until it clicks enough times to attach the prosthetic to the person. And then the only way to get that prosthetic off once it's attached is to push a button at the bottom of the prosthetic near the foot piece, and that will release the pin from the hole. I do know that some amputees don't like the Pinlock System because some of the socks that you wear over your liner to like kind of adjust throughout the day for the sizing differences in your limb. Some amputees don't like it for that reason because those socks can get stuck in the Pinlock System, and then it can on occasion cause the prosthetic to become stuck on the amputee, which yes, this can be very uncomfortable, but there are ways that you can get off the prosthetic if that happens. One of those is to use an Allen wrench, and you can usually like push in that little button to unlock the Pinlock System. And then another way that you can get it off is you can actually use like a lot of soap and water, and you can dump that soap and water like right inside the liner so that it gets into that like jelly part of the liner, and then it will be able to slip off. But as for me, I've never used the Pinlock System, so I don't have a ton of experience with the Pinlock System, but I have seen it at the prosthetics lab where I go. And if you do want to see more about the Pinlock System, you can go watch videos over on Stephania's Amputee Adventures. She's my friend and also a CRPS amputee, but she has a Pinlock System prosthetic right now. So if you want to see it in action, go over there after you're done watching this video. The second type of prosthetic system that I'm going to talk about is called a vacuum seal system. And the vacuum seal system works by having a prosthetic liner, and then that prosthetic liner has these little like rubber bands on the outside of it that help it stick to the prosthetic's socket. So the socket is the hard piece that the limb like actually inserts into. The vacuum seal socket attaches a bit differently than the Pinlock System in the sense that there's no pin at the bottom of the liner, so the liner is just like kind of smooth with just the little bands on the outside of it. And then it will have a valve inside the prosthetic socket that is a one-way valve, and as you step down into the prosthetic, it allows all the air to get out of the socket. and then the vacuum seal part of it takes hold, and so you have like you have the liner, and then you have a sleeve that goes over the prosthetic socket and the liner, and it will come up like fairly far on your leg, but it will seal that prosthetic onto your leg like really, really well, so it's not going to come off at all. And then once it does want to come off, you like just unroll that sleeve that's over the liner and the prosthetic. You kind of unroll that, and then that will help to break the vacuum seal to get it off. Again, I do not have a vacuum seal prosthetic, but I know other amputees that have used them, such as Footless Joe, and also Stephania's Amputee Adventures also had a vacuum seal socket before she had her Pinlock, and she did the vacuum seal first before the Pinlock, but she also has like said in some of her videos that she didn't like the vacuum seal socket as much because it was causing like more pain than her current one. So that may be a consideration if you're a CRPS amputee, that you may not want to try the vacuum seal socket. A running blade is made for the specific activity and movement of running. And the reason that you need a different prosthetic piece or part to be able to run is because a walking leg is made for the movement of walking. And a walking leg cannot fully effectively mimic the movement of running. So that is why you need a separate prosthetic for running and a separate prosthetic for walking. It's kind of like when you're like working on a car or working on a project in the house, you need different tools for different activities. There are some running blades now that are made to attach to a walking leg socket. And the way that they work is they give you the Allen wrenches and everything, and then you twist off your walking leg piece and like completely pull that off of your socket, and then you attach the running blade onto your existing socket. It is a more cost-effective option for getting a running blade, as most running blades and sports equipment for adaptive sports are not going to be covered by insurance. And unfortunately, that is because a lot of insurance companies are a bit greedy, and they do not think that exercise is all that important to amputees. A lot of times they will say that exercising is a luxury for an amputee, which I personally don't agree with this like at all, but you know, go tell that to the insurance companies that kind of control everything at this point. There are also running blades where a amputee will have a completely new socket be fabricated, and then after that they will attach the running blade to like the side of the socket. And I've seen things from like both sides. People do say that these kinds of running prosthetics can be a lot more expensive of an option, but also it may be more comfortable to wear as you're running and doing physical activities. So lastly, we have my current custom prosthetic that is quite an unconventional design for most below-the-knee amputees. The way that my prosthetic attaches is not by using a liner, but by using socks. And so first I have a nylon sock. This is just a thin sock. It does not provide a whole lot of compression, but that's good because my limb is very sensitive to compression, especially right at the end of my residual limb. And then second, I will put on this sock, which is a 5-ply long sock, which is cut off at the bottom. So the end of my limb will be like right here. And at the very end of my limb, there is not a whole lot of compression, which allows me to be able to wear my prosthetic for a longer period of time than it would without that. And then this is what my current prosthetic looks like. It has the front hard socket on the front, and then on the back there is some gel type of material on the back. So this is, it's rubbery and it's flexible there. And then I have the strap that goes across the back here. And that is what makes my current socket a bit more adjustable than a normal rigid socket. And then up on the top, I have the thigh piece. So this comes up above my knee, and I have the like 3 straps here that come across, and then I have the tongue here that allows me to put my leg in, and then this piece will kind of come inside the leg, and then it allows me to strap it up and keep it tight. So with this prosthetic, it is actually the straps that are providing tension and keeping the leg on. And I've never had problems with my leg coming off, thankfully, but that is how my leg attaches to my person. So moving on to the bottom of my prosthetic, this right here is a shock absorber. So when I step, the piece goes like up and down, and it's got some hydraulics in there that keep the step from being so painful on the end of my limb. And then you have the foot piece, which I'm going to try to show you. Mine is like kind of this like fleshy color, and it actually does look a lot like a foot. Like it has like toes, and you can paint the toes, and then you just put a sock over the foot piece and put on a shoe. And that is how my current prosthetic works. I would love to hear if you guys have questions about my prosthetic, to leave them in the comments down below. And I would also love it if you go check out my friend, Stephania's Amputee Adventures. I will link some videos down in the description down below that talk about her current prosthetics and her journey. So I would love it if you'd give my friend some support as well. And if you would like to see another One-Footed Phoenix video, click over here, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you. Bye.